I want to thank you for attending this special cultural awareness program titled Based on a True Story by Jagada K. Chambers. My name is James Forte. I am the Cultural Awareness Program Committee Coordinator for San Joaquin Delta College. Delta College's CAP Committee looks for special presentations for our students, faculty, and staff that includes the cultural enrichment of our community and to provide an educational experience of selected presentations in theater, poetry, and dance, and such topics on racism, mental health, and sex trafficking. Today's program deals with the everyday decisions that our young adults and teenagers have to make on an ongoing basis. In fact, it's a decision that we all have to make, and that's a conscientious decision. Mr. Jagada Chambers is a true Stocktonian, born and raised in Stockton, California, and a former student of Delta College, where he was a football athlete and majored in journalism. Jagada began his athletic career here at Delta College and Butte Community College, and continued on to McMurray College in Jacksonville, Illinois. He has written a book titled, Based on a True Story, about his life and how his life changed forever from one night to one bad decision. Jagada is now an award-winning journalist, author, husband, and father, and gives motivational speeches at schools all around the country, sharing his story and message on the ramifications of making one bad decision. Ladies and gentlemen, the San Joaquin Delta Cultural Awareness Program presents Based on a True Story by Mr. Jagada Chambers.
My name is Jagada Chambers. Born and raised here in Stockton. I lived in Nightingale neighborhood with my family. Then we moved to Filbert Arms, and in 1980 we moved on to the Cortez Park area of the northern Stockton. I come from an awesome family. I had two wonderful parents. Very few people that I grew up with were in home with their birth mother and birth father. So, you know, my mistake, I can't blame on society or circumstances. I have phenomenal parents who did everything in their power to help me achieve success in life. So when I look back at my reflection period of what went wrong, there is no way, shape, form, or fashion I can blame my parents. They were phenomenal, and they did everything, even when I was in college. Sent me money, sent me soap powder, froze food for me to put in the freezer, did everything. So I don't want the stigma of being a prisoner to reflect back on them in any way. They didn't deserve to experience what they experienced the last portion of their life due to my decision. Again, one sister, me and her in that two-parent household. It was, I would say, upper middle class, you know. We didn't want for anything. We ate steak, we ate chicken, we ate pork chops, we ate good. I can't say I was a top ramen noodle and hot dog kind of dude. My parents were fabulous. I finished middle school and went on to high school at Tokay High School in Lodi, California. I see a dear teacher of mine in here today who I love without question. But I went from Tokay High School. In my senior year there, I fell short of the glory and was actually expelled from Tokay. I ended up going to the ONE program through the San Joaquin County Office of Education. Again, I was blessed to get in their company. They did a remarkable job of reinstilling me the hope to continue on. So many people here, when you do mess up and get expelled or get suspended or get it rejected from the normal school districts, they give up. The County Office of Education didn't allow me to do that. They continued with me and helped guide me through the steps to get into college. From the ONE program, I went right here at Delta College. I played for a legendary baseball coach, Pat Doyle. He was a community college coach of the year on multiple occasions, and he groomed me and prepared me to learn and cherish the game of baseball. You know, when I came out of my expulsion, I had to start fresh. He was able to give me a clean slate. He didn't take my expulsion from Tokay and taint his image of me. He gave me a fair shake. He gave me a fair shot. I didn't think that I was a fourth outfielder. I felt like I was better than coming off the bench. So I ended up moving to Chico, California, and attended Butte Junior College. At Butte Junior College, again, I was blessed with two phenomenal coaches, Jim Lauer and Wendell Bolar, who are still great pillars in my life to this moment. Did everything in their power to help me succeed. I won a championship at Butte College, and from there I went on to McMurray College. McMurray College is a NC2A Division III baseball school that was ranked in the top 30 for a 7 to 10 year span. When I went there, there was over 340 Division III schools in this country, and they were ranked in the top 30. So I went to a baseball powerhouse. I went there, continued my education, and began to enjoy academia. You know, it was small courses with one-on-one experiences with the teachers. You know, sometimes in the junior college scene, especially in California, you might have 30 to 70 people in the class, and a teacher might not even know your name, they know your number. In McMurray, it was really intimate, and it allowed me to start almost rejoicing in learning, okay? The common denominator through Delta, Butte, and then McMurray was baseball. I was a student athlete. Some of you guys that are here, you're not student athletes, you are just chasing your academia. That's even more impressive, because a lot of people here that are student athletes, if you remove your athleticism from it, you probably wouldn't even attend college. I know I would be guilty. If I wasn't allowed to play baseball, I don't think I would even went to college. I might have just started working or chasing a different route in life. So the people who are focused on the academia, you deserve a hand clap. You deserve the praise, because you are focused on academia, and that is what is important. Again, that is what is important. That's what your energy and your focus should be on, learning. Don't ever take learning for granted. Don't ever take the privilege that you have to come to these courses for granted. Always be focused on that. Completing school after my incarceration, I became a sports reporter. I moved back to the Central Valley, and God opened up a door for me to become a sports reporter. I'm an award-winning sports reporter. I wrote for the Manteca Bulletin for years, over 8 years. In that tenure, I wrote for the Oakdale Leader, for the Riverbank News. I worked for a corporation that owned several newspapers. So that entitled me to go into different communities, establish relationships and bonds with people that was clearly rooted in my love to cover sports. You know, obviously when I came home from incarceration, I thought the dream of being a sports reporter was done. You know, I gave up on that. I felt like my decision had ruined that opportunity. But lo and behold, it didn't. God was good and enabled me that shot. So I never took that for granted. I think that is probably one of the key reasons why the relationships that I built were so respected on their behalf, because I cherished my job. I honored my job. I knew that I was blessed to even be employed. Hello, you guys know how hard it is. But not only employed, but employed by doing something that I love and I cherish. I want to evolve into my story. The reason I am here speaking to you guys today, the reason that I have you as an audience today is because I failed. You know? So some of you are coming back on your second chances. Some of you have already made a blockbuster mistake. I have your attention and you as an audience now because I failed. I was at McMurray College. I had already stressed to you how much I appreciated my academia and was focused on my academics. I never took it for granted. I had good grades. I remained eligible. That was never a problem. Again, I was on a championship baseball team. I was taking road trips to Minnesota, to Florida, Columbus, Ohio. They would give us meal money. They would pay for our hotels. They would provide us, wash our clothes even. McMurray was an NC2A Division III school, but they took care of us on Division II quality. You know what I'm saying? They really went out of their way to garner and heap upon a respect for student athletes. They provided us free tutoring. They provided us free learning center access. They did everything in their power to help us succeed. My senior year, my second year there, my senior year, I went to spring break in Florida. A group of friends of mine from McMurray, we decided to go to spring break. Like so many students do in this country year after year, I went to spring break. We chose Florida with the mindset to party. I know there's people in here that can hear my voice now that are partiers, that are drinkers, and they enjoy drinking. They're probably not even of age to drink legally in this country, but they drink, they smoke pot, they might experiment with other drugs because that is the lifestyle that is, I would say, normal in the college atmosphere. More of you know someone who does drink than you know people who do not drink. So my whole mindset rooted in going to spring break was to party. Make no mistake about it, I went down there, the group of people who I went down there with, our intention was to turn up. We were trying to drink and have a great time, go to dinners, get to chase females, maybe get some shopping in, get by the water, enjoy our time for that week, and then come on back and focus on that last stretch run before college completed. That mindset is common all over this country, whether it be Lake Havasu, whether it be Las Vegas, Nevada, whether it be Miami, South Beach, whether it be Fort Lauderdale, or whether it be Pensacola. Every year, people head off to situations to go party and hang out all over this country. They save up money to go. Some of you guys get funding from your parents to go on these spring breaks because you deserve to go let your hair down. You deserve that opportunity to go party. Okay? My trip, I had a great week. I did everything that I wanted that week. I partied hard. I drank every night. I smoked every night. I did everything that you want to do on spring break. We partied. We went to clubs. We met women. The apartment complex where we stayed at, it was a party every night. We went to good steak dinners at Don Shula's restaurant. We saw University of Florida play some basketball games. We had a great time, okay? So the experience that I had at spring break was priceless. Many people would trade it in right now. If I told you I'll give you an all-expense paid trip to Florida and let you go have a great time, I bet you half of this room would sign up for it right now. Okay? But the last day of the trip, I've decided to get my money's worth, even though I had a great week, okay? I had a great week. I had no complaints. My other friends who I went down there with, they had partied so hard, they wanted to just relax and get ready for our departure. But I wanted to get my money's worth, okay? I wanted to go out, so I went out by myself. I didn't go out with the group of buddies that I came to Florida with. I went out by myself, okay? I'm from Stockton. I'll be fine. I'm okay. I don't have to worry about nothing. And so I took my big head out by myself. I went to the Purple Porpoise. If anybody ever goes to Gainesville, Florida, it's one of the premier bars for the University of Florida campus. I went to the Purple Porpoise, and they had 25-cent Coronas beginning at 9 o'clock. 25 cents. Imagine if I said you got 25-cent Corona. Who would want them, right? There'd be no limit. So every 15 minutes, it would go up a quarter. So at 9 o'clock, they were 25 cents. 9:15, they were 50 cents. 9:30, 75. And they capped them off at $2. So I went hard to the paint. You couldn't give me enough Coronas. It was a gentleman who was he had been dishonorably discharged from the military. And he was sulking. He was grieving. He didn't want to tell his father about what he was going on. So me and him were just pounding beers. We were pounding beers at a rapid pace. And I drank over a case of beer that night, okay? I drank over a case of beer that night. By 11 o'clock, I started drinking Hennessy and Coke. I should have took my tail home, but you're having a good time. You're in that atmosphere. You're getting your spring break in. And so I just kept going. By 2 o'clock, my buddies came to pick me up. It was reality. I was drunk as a skunk. I went back to the apartment complex where we were staying and continued to drink. I didn't stop. We continued to drink. There was a party upstairs. We went up to that party, hung out, danced. I did some more smoking grade A marijuana. There was no good marijuana in the Midwest, okay? People that smoke pot out here, you know, we have good caliber marijuana in this portion of the country. So when I moved to the Midwest, it was not good. So when I went to Florida, they had good pot. So now I'm burning again, real heavy, okay? 4 in the morning, he's still drinking, he's still partying. Doing too much because I'm getting my money's worth for spring break. I ended up getting into an altercation with a friend of mine, John Swear, that I came down to Florida with, okay? A buddy of mine, we hung out that Thanksgiving break. I consider him a buddy. We got into it for one thing or another, and we got into a physical altercation. He kind of got me. You know, my buddies didn't go out that night, and so in my mindset, I figured this dude didn't took advantage of me. He didn't took advantage of me. For whatever reason, he held a grudge or was begrudgingly waiting for his opportunity to get at me. He did what he did. It was a good fight. I didn't get knocked out or stomped, but my eye got closed. It was as if Tyson got a hold of my eye. You know, it was lumped up. So I remember going into the restroom and seeing my eye. And when I saw my eye, I was like, I got to have him. No way, shape, form, or fashion. And I grabbed a knife, okay? He took off. He was gone for over an hour. One of the key components of me losing at trial was that they felt I had enough time to calm down, you know? But I'm going to tell you, when you add that alcohol to the equation, you're no longer in control. The enemy had got me. He embodied me, you know? I was no longer in control anymore, okay? So it wasn't about calming down. That wasn't on the option. I need revenge, okay? So after a long, lengthy period of him being gone, he was up on the second floor balcony just looking at everything. People right there, the people that we went down there with, neighbors from the parties that was going on. Mind you, this is 5 in the morning. Florida, University of Florida, that's a real college town. It didn't slow down. It was still going. Nothing that slowed down. People were still up drinking. People were still up partying. So when he came back down and he got in arm's reach, I lured him down and told him, come on, man, it's all good. He didn't know me for real, know me. So he came down. And as soon as he got within arm's reach, I just commenced to stabbing him, okay? I stabbed him 4 times. He almost died. I pierced his liver. I broke a rib. At that moment, I literally almost threw my life away. But it's rooted in one decision. That alcohol, man. That alcohol. You guys go out, you drink. Some of you got roommates that drink, might just drink 6, 7, 8 beers at home. No problem. It's that alcohol. You are not who you are under the influence of alcohol. You are not who your parents would have you to be. You are not who God would have you to be. You are not who you should be when you add alcohol to the equation. You surrender control. Some people can go out and have a couple beers and then go home. Some people can go out and have a glass of wine and maintain composure. There are some people, not me. I couldn't stop it after a case of beer. Why am I still drinking? Because I had a problem with alcohol. Some of you have a problem with alcohol and you know it. You know your character changes once you've had one too many. You know some people don't like hanging around you once you've had one too many. You know that when you have one too many, you might drive and you know you have no business driving. Somebody might tell you, hey, man, you don't need to drive. You might get defensive. Man, don't tell me that. I'm cool. You know who you are. You know who your friends are that are like that. Destruction is waiting. Destruction is waiting on that. That's the real. So my reality, how did my reality surface? When I woke up in the Alachua County Jail. They had took me into custody. I stabbed the dude. I left, tried to get on the Greyhound bus station. I passed out at the bus station. The police came and got me. I stood up, surrendered. It wasn't no arguing or nothing. I knew I was wrong. I watched Law and Order. There was nothing to talk about. That was my parents' favorite show. I just knew to be quiet. All they wanted to tell me, what happened? If your friend died, you're going to prison forever. What happened? I was like, someone got stabbed? What happened? What? I'm playing the game. I'm playing the game. I'm not going to tell you nothing that's going to incriminate me, but I know I'm shook now. It's real. So when they got me in custody and then they took me to the Alachua County Jail, that alcohol was gone. After it had used and abused me, he was gone. The alcohol was gone, and I knocked out. And then I came, I'll never forget it. It was a dude knocking on the door, and he got up. He was like, you ain't from here? I was on the front page of the newspaper. I was on the front page of the newspaper. Life has been ruined, okay? The alcohol was gone. It wore off. Now we're dealing with reality. Like I told you in the beginning, I had awesome parents, fabulous parents, okay? I didn't have the courage to call them. I couldn't even call my mother and father. Couldn't even call them to check in and let them know what happened because I was embarrassed. I was ashamed. How could I fail like this? Not me, not at the finish line. How could this happen to me? I didn't call my parents for 3 days. I called my sister. I called my sister and she was like, you better call mom and daddy. I can't. I told her, don't tell them either. We're going to figure it out. I told her, we're going to figure it out. Don't tell them. She raced over there and told them. Couldn't even tell them over the phone. She raced right over there and told them. Said she woke them up about 7 in the morning. Gator in jail. What? They didn't get to talk to me for 3 days because I wasn't even man enough to call and tell what happened. You guys don't want to deal with that. You hear me? I'm not here for somebody to buy this book. I don't care if y'all buy that book. If you read it, it's going to change your life. It's going to give you a new reflection. But I'm not here for this book. I don't need you to go to my book signing next week. I want you to change your life before destruction hits. I have a genuine compassion for people because what I went through was hell. You don't want to experience. You don't want to experience a third of what I experienced on behalf of that one decision. And I'm talking to the right people because guess what? In 4 months, you guys are going to spring break. You're going to plan them Lake Havasu trips. MTV going to have their little girls dancing and it's going to bait all year. Let's go. We're going to Fort Lauderdale. You hear me? United going to have the cheap airline tickets for you. Everything going to fall in place for you to get down there. The Coronas is going to be 25 cents. That's what's going to happen. So I need you to be cognizant of my fat face. Remember the dude that came? Man, maybe I shouldn't go too hard. Maybe I should just relax. Maybe I could just go spend some time with my family and study. Well, maybe I can go but not get out of character. Have a mindset about the destruction that I experienced. That'll be huge. The reality of my case, it continued to surmount. Lawyer. I was charged with first-degree attempted murder. 20-some years, I could go to prison. You hear me? I had to get a lawyer. I couldn't trust my fate in the hands of a public defender. By the grace of God, my family had a home and finances to give me an opportunity to at least fight. How many people got $50,000 in here? Anybody got a loose $50K that they could just drop on a lawyer right now? I know somebody do. Yeah, No, you don't. You don't have it. And you definitely don't want to try to come up with it. My parents refinanced their home. The first check I just saw, and my wife, she had some paperwork, she cleaned it up. The first check my parents gave to my lawyer was $35,000, a retainer. $35K. I looked at it now as a grown man. It brought tears in my eyes. What would I do if I needed to come up with $35,000 for my child? How could I make that happen? Some of you guys are parents in here. You got to talk to your kids. Or you might have to come up with that check. Some of you got children that are in high school right now, and you're letting them drink at home. You better get the check ready, because it's going to happen. You're not going to continue to skate through life and not hit that wall. And that wall doesn't have to be stabbing somebody on spring break. No. That wall could be just a simple DUI. Because if you're not 21, you're not even legally capable to be drinking and driving, or drinking, period, in this country. So if you get caught under the influence, what's going to happen? You're going to have a court date. You're going to have a new reality. You think I was prepared to go to prison? I went from a college athlete to an inmate at the Department of Corrections in a matter of months. You know how easy it is to go to school in comparison to waking up in prison for every single day? That's the last thing you guys want to do, is forfeit your alienable right to freedom. That's the last thing you want to give up, man. Some of you, you don't want to give up that hour. If your parents say, hey, I need you to stay home and watch the kid for an hour, you go crazy. Man, I got to do something. You don't want to stay home for 1 hour. Imagine somebody telling you you ain't moving for 1,900 days. What are you going to do? How are you going to make it make sense? How are you going to not go crazy? And I'm not going to even divulge or go into the vicious cycle of prison. I'm not going to even go into how vicious and violent prison is. That's a whole different entity. I'm just talking about freedom and sacrificing that. For what? To drink? Because you know somebody else drink? Because your parents grew up drinking? What makes you? What do you have to do? What does alcohol have to do to you before you realize it's not your friend? In this country, anything that is dealt with celebration or deal with sorrow is rooted in alcohol. Something happens good, what do? Let's meet at the bar. Everybody's going to go turn up. That's what it's going to be. Somebody passed away or some sorrow, you're going to go to the funeral, then everybody's going to go back and eat and drink. Everything is rooted in alcohol, but it's not your friend. It's not your friend. It will destroy you. It will destroy who you are. You hear me? Drugs, same plateau. For some reason, we have alcohol rooted as okay, but drugs, What? Because why? Because our government makes billions off of it, and so they make it accessible and affordable for you? What's the difference? What's the difference? Why do you think it's okay to drink and drive? Why do you think it's okay to drink and drive? Why do you think you could go to Buffalo Wild Wings and have a ton of beers and then drive home? The country doesn't care. Our county, our city, they don't care. If they cared, they'd make people blow breathalyzers after they serve them 10 beers. Why would a bartender in his right mind give you 10 beers, take your $20 tip, shake your hand and say, good luck getting home? Hey, you forgot your keys. What? Because they don't care. It's a vicious cycle. That my night of partying in spring break, it threw me whirlwind right into it. You know what I'm saying? The reality of prison is set in like a stack of bricks. I didn't want to go to prison. It was something that I did not want to do. I did not want to go to prison, okay? But it became my reality. The further along I got, the state's attorney gave me one option for a plea. They wanted me to plead to aggravated battery, and they were going to give me 5 years, okay? I said, man, no. I'm still in not a good frame of mind. I'm not volunteering to go to prison. That's how I looked at a plea bargain. I looked at it, in my mind, it was like, I'm not volunteering to go to prison. If I go to prison, y'all going to have to beat me and send me. So I took my dumb butt to trial, you know? I went to trial for a week. I went to trial for a week and I lost. After a week-long trial, so almost 15 years to the day. I lost that trial November 10th, 1999, senior in college. I thought maybe if I could sneak out of there and get a battery charge because the victim initiated the incident, because I was under the influence of alcohol and drugs, because of the duress that the incident caused, there was 11 mitigating circumstances that would enable a judge to give me a downward departure. So I stuck to that. I got a shot. I'm trusting Jesus. I got a shot. I lost that trial. Okay? And it got real. There's a portion of my book I want to share with you right now. This is where I lost that trial. You know, I know many of you guys have seen the TV shows, and you see how it goes once you lose that trial. I'm going to tell you how it really went. This is just a little paragraph. Again, this book, all truth. No lies, no lies. My wife, who's my wife today, awesome, she was just my girlfriend then. I'm talking about other girls in here. I'm just being real. That was one thing that God put on my heart when I began this book. Be honest. If you want this to impact, if you really want to get something out of it, if you want to help change or at least get someone's attention with the reality that you experience, you got to be honest. So I didn't hold no punches. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I told everything how it was. Okay, again, this is me being found guilty. Would the defendant please rise? My entire legal team stood up with me, and the judge turned to speak to the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, have you arrived at a verdict? The foreperson, the only white lady, stood and said, "We have, Your Honor." Mr. Bailiff, would you hand the verdict to me, please? The judge read it and returned it to the bailiff to reissue back to the clerk. He did not give any inclination of what he had read, and believe me, I was searching. The judge told the clerk to publish the verdict. Yes, Your Honor. As she spoke, my entire being halted. I saw my mama's face, Don's hair when she got out of the shower, Reuben's daughter, Alexis. Strange things flashed through my heart. A feeling of claustrophobia, the dark, and the unknown set in. The young black lady juror was already in tears, and I knew my fate had been sealed. In the Circuit Court of Florida, the 8th Judicial Circuit in and for Alachua County, State of Florida versus Jagada Chambers, case number 99948, CFA, Division 1, verdict. We, the jury, find as follows. As to the defendant, Jagada Chambers, in this case, the defendant is guilty of attempted second-degree murder, a lesser included offense. In a matter of moments, my hopes were shattered, and I fell into the huge black leather chair and just started tripping. Dang, I should have went to Mexico. Dang, 20 years. Dang, my mama. Jesus, what happened? My thoughts were rapid and full of despair. Rusan, who was my lawyer, grabbed my shoulder and told me, stand up while the verdict was being completed. He had a serious look on his face as he gestured for me to get up. I looked at him and yelled, man, for what? It was over. I had played their game and they had won. That's the reality. That's when reality surfaced in, you know. Now you know you're going to prison. You know those hopes are sneaking out of there with probation. That's history. You're going to prison now. Your reality is you're going to prison. And the reality that I need to instill and bestow on all of you is it could be you. Please don't think that this is not your reality. Please don't think that this can't happen to you. Please don't think that. Please don't leave this auditorium and continue in the lifestyle that you are living and don't think that you can't be held accountable. Because you can. You can. Especially if you're drinking and smoking. Especially if you're living a life that ain't conducive with our society. This could be your reality just as I surfaced on me. Do you think I went down to prison? You think I went to spring break my senior year with the intentions of going to prison? Come on, man. What? I thought I'd at the very least, come back to Stockton and be an athletic director or a head coach of one of these baseball programs. I had dreams and aspirations just like each of you sitting out there right now. But that decision, it's all rooted back in that one decision. Every single semester it happens to somebody. My story is only strange to people who are uninformed. This happens every year, every semester. Maybe not to the extent of violence, but somebody crashes and burns every year. Some of you guys are hustling. Destruction is waiting. There's a huge parameter of things that you could do to forfeit your right to freedom. So you have to cherish it and be focused on it. You have to make decisions that don't allow you to be subjected to lose your life. If my victim would have died, it would be it. I wouldn't be discussing this with you. You hear me? So you can't allow yourself to think it's not going to be you. Drinking and driving could take you out. You add alcohol to that equation, females around here, you could get taken advantage of. Sexual assault is prevalent on these college campuses. It's real. So when you add alcohol to the equation, you become subjected to that. It can sneak up and grab you too. Physical injury. You could be drunk and fall off this stage, kaboom. It's something that you don't want to add to your plate. And it's not that challenging. It's not that challenging to do what needs to be done. That's not hard. You could get in a car accident. Maybe you don't. Maybe you do get a DUI. Okay, maybe you don't. You could wreck. You could tear your car up hitting a tree. The police might not even show up, but you could tear your car up, get physically injured, and have to have somebody come get you. You can escape the DUI, but you've totaled your vehicle. You've added another hurdle or hindrance to your situation. Ray Rice. A lot of you guys are familiar with Ray Rice's scenario. Partying with his wife one night. One night. You don't think he's a responsible, productive man? This dude's a college graduate, a professional athlete. You know what kind of dedication it took for him to get to the level that he got to? One night, boom, threw it all in the trash. Will he bounce back? He probably will. He'll never be the same. He forfeited millions of dollars already, drug his wife and his child through the mud. For what? Because he wanted to drink and have fun? It's not worth it, you guys. It's not worth it. I'm guaranteeing you right now it's not worth it. Before I close, I want to thank the CAP committee. Before I finish, I want to thank the CAP committee because they didn't have to give me this opportunity. They did not have to give me this opportunity, so I'm eternally appreciative for the opportunity that they gave. And it's Dr. June Wayne, Pedro Ramirez, Dr. Charles Jennings, Steve Schermerhorn, Aja Butler, and Mr. James Forte. I sincerely appreciate you guys giving me this chance to address this student body because my goal is just one. If my message has resonated in the head of one of you guys, I've done my job. You hear me? In closing, don't make the same mistake I did, please. Don't make bad decisions. Each and every day we make 600-700 decisions. You don't even get it. You cognizant about what you wear, what you put on your clothes, that's a decision. Those are minute decisions. The route you take in your car, the route you take to class, where you sit in class. We make 700-800 decisions a day. Make good decisions. Realize one decision can change your life. And it also has the power to change your life in a positive way too. So make good decisions. Cherish your decisions. Don't give your decisions to anyone else. You know what I'm saying? Stay focused. Majority of the situations where you fall short are going to be rooted in drugs and alcohol, especially for the college students. Some of you guys are parents here. You got to talk to your kids. You got to forewarn them about the dangers that come along with the drugs and alcohol. That demise that's going to come, it's going to come through one of those bottles, man. I'm telling you. It really is. So you have to be cognizant of that. You have to be aware and alert. I'm not telling you not to drink. That's your decision. Some of you guys can go, like I said, you can handle it. So be it. Maybe that's for you, not for me. Your second chance is not guaranteed. There's no guarantee that you're going to get a second chance. If my victim would have died, I'd been in prison for life, period. Period, point blank. Nothing to talk about, nothing hypothetical, this, that. If he'd have died, I'd have been dead. It's that simple. So a second chance is something I cherish. You know, I got out of prison 10 years ago, August 1st, 2004. I'm an award-winning sports journalist. I have a job. Some people feel like I'm a buffoon to tell the whole world that I went to prison. Most people get out of prison and try to put it all the way behind them. Why would this dude come out and tell the whole wide world he'd been to prison? It just there's no logic in it. It doesn't seem like it makes any sense. Because I know I have a purpose. God literally has a plan for my life. I have to minister. I have to go out and tell people what happened to me so in turn it doesn't happen to someone. Somebody's going to watch the NFL game tonight, drink 12 beers and drive home. I know it. I'm not stupid. But it's somebody that might stop at 2. That's who I got to get to. That's who I have to get to. That's who my focus is. At every school, I was at Pacific Tuesday. I'm going to be speaking to a group of criminologists and sociologists in a couple weeks in San Francisco. That's the message. I'm just trying to get to one. You hear me? That's why I would divulge my reality. That's why I would tell everybody what's happening with me. You know, change your lifestyle before that destruction hits. Don't allow the destruction to hit like it did me and then begin to reevaluate your life. Change it before it happens. Find out what you want out of life before you are surrendered to just having what life will give you. Take advantage of your education. Be focused about it. Cherish it. My pain that I experienced, forget about it. If I told you, you wouldn't even believe it. You know, you couldn't handle it. Like they say, you couldn't walk 100 yards in these raggedy shoes. You know, my mother died the first year I was in prison. My grandmother died 6 months later. My father died 10 months after that. You don't have to get a life sentence to ruin your life. I was sentenced to 64.8 months. And in the first 2 years, everybody was dead. I missed all those funerals. As much pain as it was for me to miss the funerals, my sister had to bury my parents alone. It wasn't fair to her either. That's pain. That's pain that you don't want to experience. I'm trying to tell you, you don't want to. Make your decisions now so you can avoid it. My entire prison sentence was over 1,900 days. 1,900 days. That was it. And just like that. One decision to 1,900 days. Don't do it. You guys think twice. And finally, in reality, you don't want to use your second chance. That's my last message to you guys. Don't use your second chance. Take time to really captivate what you want out of life, okay? Take time to captivate that, man. I thank you guys, man.